You're watching another great interview on Audio Inc. Radio.
Hola, amigos. This is Billy Sheehan, your bass player. You're listening to my dear friend, Anne Erickson, right here on Audio Inc.
It's Anne Erickson with Audio Inc. Radio, and I'm very happy to be here with the legendary Billy Sheehan. How are you?
I'm very good. That's very kind of you to say. Thank you so much.
I have to say, first of all, that I'm a bass player. And when I first started learning, everyone said, you got to listen to this guy. He's the best.
Glad to hear that you're a bass player. It's welcome to the bass player club. There's a great community amongst bass players. Drummers have their own community, kind of guys are too, but bass players generally are a pretty good bunch. So I'm glad you're one of us.
Yeah. So, well, congrats on the new record from the Winery Dogs 3. It's a great set. I'm wondering, tell me, what was it like getting the band back together? Because it's been a while since you guys have released new music.
Yeah. Well, we always intended to, but the pandemic got in the way for a little while. And so when we did finally have the opportunity to travel, Mike and I went out to LA to Richie's house and just got into a little tiny room like we did with the two previous records and started throwing ideas around. And it was pretty great to be back together in the same room and just playing and having a blast. I love hanging with those guys as well as playing with them. And we came up with a lot of the songs in a couple days. And then we went home and came back for another session and then just started recording it. And the actual time spent on the record, if you put it all together, was not a lot of time. And I like that because sometimes when you're laboring over something and trying to figure out if this is the right chorus or this is the right chorus, you're going down the wrong road. When stuff happens spontaneous and fast and works and falls together, you feel good about it right away, which is the case in this record, thankfully. Then I think that generally is a good indicator that you're on the right road.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like listening to the record, I feel like it sounds like a real rock record. It's not too planned out. It's not too quote unquote perfect. And that's something I really like about it. It's real music.
Oh, that's wonderful that you say that. Yeah, because a couple of times usually there's 4 bars of one thing before you go to another. And in this one, this one's 5 bars. It's supposed to be 4. So we just, in our enthusiasm sometimes, we colored out of the line a few times. And I kind of like that because it's real. And the spontaneity of improvisation is a big part of the band live. We stretch out and we go to places we hadn't gone before. So in the writing process, that happens sometimes too. So no, it's not that we didn't go for a perfect record. We went for a record that we felt strongly about, and right away playing it for people and for friends. Early on, we started to see a really great response. So cautiously optimistic, and then when the record came out, it's really been an overwhelmingly fantastic response from people. We're so grateful. Really so incredibly grateful for this. It's wonderful.
How would you describe the musical chemistry in the Winery Dogs?
Well, we've all been doing it a long time and all been doing it on our own or with others, a lot of different people. So we come to the band with a big vocabulary of song parts, song ideas, lyric things. But the chemistry has to be there or nothing really works. I've been in situations where the chemistry is not there. And you can maybe get a record out, but it's just not the same. Where Mike Ritchie and I, we're very different people, all of us, but we seem to land on the same page when it comes to music. And automatically, one guy will say, wait, I was thinking about this. And go, oh, yeah, I thought the same thing. And the other go, oh, yeah, I just didn't say it yet. So we're really on the same page musically. And all of us sing, all of us write. So that helps a lot. Richie did all the lyrics on this record, did a great job with some really intriguing stories and moods that he set up lyrically, which I was very, very impressed with. He did a great job at that. And Mike's pocket as a drummer is just undeniable, relentless, and great. And I'm in the mix there somewhere as well. But we do have a good chemistry. So if you're on a tour bus for 6, 8, 10, 12 months, your chemistry better be good because it can go south real fast if you're not all friends, and we are. And so we're all out to dinner last night and the night before and having a wonderful time. So that's a big factor. And it's an intangible too. So you never know if it's going to be there or not. But fortunately with this band, it is.
Yeah, what is it like touring with the guys? And like you said, you guys hang out as friends every night. Is it all fun times?
It is a riot. I mean, there's hard work though. We do hit it hard. I get up, I get to the venue at about noon. I start warming up for about 2 hours. We do our sound check. I warm up some more after that. I hear the opening act start. I get dressed to go on stage, blah, blah, blah. And then we repeat. But in between the times we're on the stage, because that's usually the most enjoyable part of the day for all of us to be on that stage together. Outside of that, on the bus, it's fun. We got a great crew. We hang out. We meet. We got amazing friends everywhere. Everywhere we go, there's somebody that we know. And out by the bus after the show, if people, if I didn't see them inside, I hang out, take photos, and sign things, and hear what they think about the record, or how they like the show. And we're very close with our fans, and our fans have been incredibly kind to us and generous to us. They've been with us since the beginning, and we take care of them as best we can. And not only here, but all over the world. We'll be going to South America. We got Mexican dates, European dates, Southeast Asian, and Japan. Hopefully Australia and a few more places. So we'll be together a lot.
Well, then it's good you guys get along. I can't imagine if you didn't. So, what is it like releasing music today versus like back in the 80s and 90s? Because I know it is just a whole different ball game.
It is. I kind of like it. The music business has changed a lot, but and it's there's not as many studios and there's no record companies giving out big budgets for albums. But if you have a MacBook Air, you have the equivalent of a studio that couldn't have even existed with all that technology years ago. Yeah, some people argue digital versus this or that, but you've got, and then on top of it, on that same laptop, you're a couple clicks away from thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, or even more people. So as much as it's changed, there's still great opportunity for a band or a musician to go and put their songs out and get people to hear them, and then eventually tour. So we decided to put this record out ourselves. We used a record company the first two, and they did an okay job, but it wasn't anything we couldn't have done ourselves. So we just decided to take more control of the situation, which more people do now. A lot of people are self-producing, creating a record, and it's all under your control. You don't have any record company saying, "Oh, I think this or I think that." It's the musicians. In the movie business, you don't have that at all. You see someone that's an actor in a film, they're told what to say, when to say, how to say it, what to wear, what kind of makeup, where to stand, do 50 takes of it, and then somebody then edits it up later and puts it in context or out of context. So they're just little pawns in the game. Where for musicians now, we do our own cover art, we produce our own record. Often it's mixed. With this time we used the great Jay Rustin as a mixer. He's mixed our other two records, just an incredible job. But we hired him and we told him what we want, and he does it perfectly. So you're really in the master of your own destiny now as a musician. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask if it's a negative or a positive that now pretty much anyone with a vision can make a record. They can make music and get it out there to the world.
Exactly right. It's easy and it's cheap. I mean, you can even on GarageBand, which is a free program. I've heard some amazing recordings on that sound like a record. That's it's an easy thing to do now. So the gates are wide open. They're crowded though, because there's a million people, or more than a million, trying to do the same thing. So it's crowded, but just work hard. Drag as much talent out of yourself as you possibly can, and then hit it even harder again. It's not easy to make it happen. Those that do have fought a very, very tough fight, but it can be done, and I believe it can be done by anyone.
Do you think that this new record benefited from the fact that you guys were doing it independently without a label and you could just do whatever you wanted?
Well, we always have kind of done that. Even we used a label for the first two, so that though there was probably tangibly a little bit more feeling of freedom. But we didn't do much thinking about the business side of it. Our goal when we got together was just to write stuff that we could connect to, that we feel we don't want to pander to an audience, but we want them to be pleased. We want to do something that they're going to like, because it's great to look out over a crowd of people and see a sea of smiling faces. It's a wonderful thing. So we wanted to really have them enjoy the record. Again, not to pander. We're not looking for commerciality. We're looking for truth and honesty. There's no pitch correction. There's no fakery. When we play live, there's no tracks. There never will be tracks with us live, ever. It's always us for real, absolutely. So we didn't think much about that as far as affecting us creatively. But now that we see that the record is out and doing really well, I hope other bands can see that who may be on the fence as to whether or not to use a label. And it's wonderful. We got all our stuff on Amazon. We got it on all the streaming services. Got it on Apple Music. It's been out to a lot of independent stores as well. That's tough though, because the distribution is difficult to do. Vinyl is behind because vinyl, all the pressing plants are backed up. The Talos record that I did, 1985, last year, it was held up for many, many months because we were waiting for vinyl. So this one, we decided to put the CD in streaming out and just keep trying to push the vinyl as much as we possibly can, because we'd like to hear it too. We enjoy it that way. So yeah, I hope that other bands do this similarly. I think they'll find it's very rewarding.
So earlier we were talking before the interview started about bass playing and how, I'm a bassist, and I was always told that I had to listen to you early on in my career because you're one of the best. So I'm wondering, what advice do you have for a budding bassist to play for the song? Because you're great at not only playing for the song, but you have the chops, but you also know when to kind of bring it back when you need to for the purpose of what you're playing, if that makes sense.
It's very kind words from you. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, bass is about, the goal or the purpose of the bass is to give time a pitch. So drums are drums. Hey, cool drum beat. What key are we in? I don't know. You hit the root note of the bass. That's what key we're in. And that connects time to melody, drums and bass to guitars and vocals. And being that glue that connects the two, the bass does hold a very important role within song structure and sonically as well. For bass players, I always like to say 3 points of advice. Get in a band, number one. Being in a band is an experience, and it's really what will teach you so much about life, as well as making music with other people. Isolated by yourself in a room, it could be fine, but when you're together with a bunch of people in a room working on songs and music, it is glorious. It's amazing. So number one, get in a band. Number two, get in a band with songs. You need songs. Soloing. I see people on YouTube and Instagram soloing. Bro, you got to play a song. It's fun to solo. I do it. I've done it a lot. But people post that little clip on YouTube and people think that's all I do. No, there was a 2-hour show, and the solo is just a little part of it. And the rest of it was all songs. So number 3, get in a band with songs that you sing. When there's singing in a song, it makes it to a whole new level. We see The Voice and American Idol and shows like that. They don't have bass players and drummers on there, or even guitar players. It's about songs and singing. So every one of the greats, Geddy Lee, Chris Squire, John Entwistle, Paul McCartney, long list of bass players, they were in a band with songs that you sing. So that if you run the numbers, there are a couple individuals that did it on their own. Absolutely, no problem. It can happen. But when you run the numbers, you'll see the most and widest and broadest and long-lasting success came from those factors, in my humble opinion.
That's
I rest my
great
case. You see what I mean? As a bass player, yourself that you get in a room and you start locking into that drummer, and man, you got this foundation underneath the singer and guitar player that makes them feel free and brings the whole band together. Bass is an incredible instrument. And again, you can play it very simply. Cliff Williams in AC/DC, what a great bass player. Just great. That giant, massive band with the incredible vocals and Angus' guitars are just locked together. Him and the drummer just make a foundation that is unstoppable. Just brilliant. And it's not incredibly complicated, but it does take a lot of skill to do what he does.
That is great advice. So you have a lot of other projects as well. What is new with all of your other millions of projects outside of the Winery Dogs?
Well, right now, most everything is on hold for this. And it's been such an overwhelming amount of detail and work getting everything together after not having toured for 3 years. So I haven't had much time, but I'm sure we'll be doing something at some point with Sons of Apollo. Hopefully we'll be doing something with Mr. Big. And There's another fusion band I have with drummer Dennis Chambers called Nias, and I hope we can do some stuff with that because he is an amazing musician I've learned a lot from. So we'll see. And I may be doing a solo record as well with Ray Lugier, drummer from Korn. He's a dear friend of mine. And lots of things on the horizon.
Well, that would be cool. How did you get to know him?
Oh, Ray and I have been friends for ages. I saw him play in LA years and years and years ago in kind of like a comedy band where they would do covers and a lot of jokes, which later turned into Steel Panther, I believe, when it first started. And I remember sitting in a club and it was jam packed, and I'm watching the band and I'm looking around going, is it me or is this drummer unbelievable? This guy's killing it up there. And I met him from that point. We've been friends ever since. He's played on my last 2 solo records out of 3, and just a joy to work with. And he's also lives in Nashville, where I've been to Nashville for the last 5 years as well. So we work a lot together.
A lot of people have come to see you in David Lee Roth's band, of course. So I'm wondering, what is it like working with David Lee Roth? He seems like he'd be very intimidating, but who knows? Maybe that's just kind of like what we see on the outside.
He is a master of his craft. Working with Dave was like getting a PhD in Showbiz 101. It was just an amazing thing. Plus, he was generous and kind, and it was an amazing adventure. I'm so honored that I got the opportunity to work with him, as well as its impact on my personal success has been overwhelming. From there, I got to start a band, Mr. Big, with the momentum I had from Dave, and we ended up having a #1 single and hit records and platinum records and playing all over the world. I don't know if it would have happened as easily if I had done Dave prior to it, quite frankly. And so I have a great debt I owe to him always, and I will have nothing but love and respect for the man. It was a great experience.
Is there a favorite track that you would always look forward to playing with him?
Oh, it's been a long time. Since 1986 or 7. Anything from the Eat 'em a Smile record was a riot. Ladies Night in Buffalo, Elephant Gun, Shy Boy, song I wrote called Shy Boy that I played with my old band Talus. Dave came out and heard us play it and wanted to do it. So I was very, very appreciative of that. And, yeah, I would say all of them.
I love it. So what is next for you with the Winery Dogs the rest of this year and into next year?
A lot of the shows down the line are very, very sold out already. So we're excited about that. We'll do this leg in the USA. We go to South America, come back, do more in the USA, go to Europe, come back and do more in the USA. So a lot of people in the comments are getting antsy and impatient. We've got so many more shows to announce all over the place. We'll be doing Southeast Asia and Japan as well, all over Europe. Hopefully we'll get to Australia this time too. It's a long flight, but I played there a lot, and we got a lot of requests to go there. A lot in South America, like I just said. But tour, and it's going to be, the dates are spilling over in the next year already. So with the success of the record so far, all the local promoters have been calling to hire us to come, because we don't choose where we play. We only play where they book us, and somebody's got to book us and bring us in. You see comments sometimes, you should bring the winery down. We can't bring anywhere. We can't. You got to bring us. We can't. Right. We can't bring us, even especially in another country. We got tax documents and customs declarations and immigration forms and all kinds of permits and all kinds of things like that. So we can't just saunter into a country and play. They have to bring us in properly. So, but fortunately, a lot of them have, and we're very, very grateful for that. So we got a lot of shows coming up, and I posted a picture of the beginnings of my show Calluses on my Facebook the other day. And I want to assure people that that's just the beginning. My hands are going to be gloriously torn to shreds. And I don't know if you're like this, Anne, like myself, but I love it when my fingers are torn up. I mean, I really love playing hard and digging in, and so far so good. It's going to be a lot of skin, when I'm playing, sometimes in the lead, I see little chunks of skin falling off my fingertips and onto the stage.
I love it. I'm the same way. I get so proud when I get calluses, and my friends think it's so weird. I totally show that off with pride.
Oh, great. And that's your tone, too. The texture of the skin on your hands has a lot to do with how your bass sounds. And if it's hard rock calluses, man, you got it. I did a rock and roll fantasy camp last year, and a whole bunch of other bass players from big bands and guitarists and stuff. And I had my little band. I'm practicing with the campers, and three people open the door and goes, "Are you playing with a pick?" And I go, "No, it's my fingers." Are you sure you're playing with a pick? Because my so hard that it sounded get the click of a pick on every note. So that was a good thing.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I never play with a pick. I just can't do it.
And I'm not, of course, but that's just I'm a was a finger guy from after first hearing Tim Bogert from the Vanilla Fudge. He was a finger player, and I knew I had to be like that.
Well, Billy, it's been awesome chatting. Congrats on all the new stuff with the winery dogs and cannot wait to see you in town.
Great. I hope you can come out to the show, and I hope your listeners and watchers can as well. And thank you very much for having me on. It's a big help to us, and we do appreciate it.